The ship was quiet. Too quiet. Lights blinked gently above, casting soft shadows on the metal walls. She walked slowly, her steps echoing in the long hallway. The air felt cold, but the armor she wore kept her warm, maybe too warm. It wrapped around her body like a second skin, tight and strange. It was not made by humans. It was alien. And it was not just armor. It was alive. Her name was Alira. She didn't remember much about before. Only flashes, training, missions, space battles, voices calling her name. But now, she was alone on this old ship, drifting far from Earth, far from anyone. She had no idea how long she had been here. Days, weeks, maybe more. She touched the side of the armor. It responded with a soft pulse, like a heartbeat. It scared her sometimes. She didn't like how it moved with her sometimes before she even moved. It was as if it could read her mind. "I want out," she whispered. But the armor did not listen. It never did. Many times, she had tried to remove it. She had pulled, pushed, and even shouted. But nothing worked. The armor always held on gently, but firmly. It was like it didn't want to let her go. Or maybe it couldn't. Alira sat down in the control room. The screens were still working, but no signal came in. Just static. She sighed and leaned back. The armor wrapped tighter around her shoulders, like a blanket trying to comfort her. "I don't need your help," she said softly. Then something strange happened. The screen in front of her blinked once, then twice, and then changed. It showed an image, a planet, one she didn't recognize. It wasn't Earth. "What is this?" she asked. The armor's chest plate glowed faintly. Lines moved across it, like code, but in a language she couldn't read. She reached out and touched the screen. The planet zoomed in, showing a mountain, then a cave, and then something even stranger, her own face, standing outside the cave. But it wasn't her face as it was now. It looked older, wiser, and a different. She blinked, confused. "Is that me?" No answer came, only silence. She stood up, her heart beating faster. Her boots clicked on the floor as she paced the room. Why was the armor showing her this? Was it a dream, a memory, or a message? She tried to shake it off. "No, it's just this suit messing with my head again." But deep down, she knew it was more than that. Later, while walking through the storage bay, she passed a mirror. She stopped. The armor's surface reflected the light in strange ways. She leaned closer and saw something that made her freeze. Inside the armor, just for a moment, something moved. It wasn't her. She stepped back. Her breath caught in her throat. She stared, but the movement was gone. Had she imagined it? She looked again. Nothing. The armor was still. She walked back to her room, trying to stay calm, but questions filled her mind. Why was this armor reacting now? Why was it showing her things? And what was inside it? That night, if it could be called night in space, she lay on her bed. The armor stayed on. As always, she had never slept without it. It didn't let her. She closed her eyes. But sleep didn't come easily. In her mind, she saw the mountain again. The cave, the older version of herself. She was standing with others, tall, strange figures with glowing eyes and soft voices. They were not human, but she didn't look afraid. She looked at home. She woke up suddenly, heart racing. The armor was glowing again, a soft blue light over her arms and chest. This time, it felt warm, calmer. She sat up. What are you trying to tell me?" Still no answer. But one thing was clear now. This armor wasn't just protecting her. It was hiding something, and whatever that something was, it was waking up. Alira woke up slowly, her eyes blinking in the dim light of the room. The hum of the ship was soft, almost like a lullaby, but her heart was not calm. Something had changed during the night. She could feel it. The armor on her body no longer felt silent. It felt alive, not just in movement or heat, but in a way that made her feel watched, not by someone else, by the armor itself. She stood up carefully. The armor moved with her, quiet and smooth, like it was trying not to disturb her. As she walked through the corridor, she noticed the lights flicker slightly as she passed. They had never done that before. The ship was old, yes, but this felt different. It was almost like the ship was reacting to her presence, or to the armor. In the control room, the screen blinked again, just like before. She stepped closer. This time, no planet, no cave. Instead, words appeared still in that strange alien language. But something was different now. A small part of her understood it. Not fully, but enough to know the message was about her. She whispered, "Why do I know this?" No one answered. But a voice echoed in her mind, soft, gentle, familiar. "Because you've seen it before." She gasped and looked around. No one was there. She touched her head. Was she imagining things? Was the armor speaking to her now? She ran a scan on herself using the medical panel near the wall. The results were strange. Her body temperature was higher than normal. Her DNA was not matching human records anymore. It was still her, but not completely. Something was shifting, changing, quietly, slowly. Back in her room, she sat on the floor and focused. She remembered the vision, the mountain, the cave, the other version of herself. It wasn't a dream. It was a memory, but not from this life, or not from this time. She pressed her hand against the center of the armor's chest. It glowed in response. She closed her eyes. The glow grew brighter. A pulse moved through her body, like waves of gentle light. And then she saw more. She saw herself as a child on another world. Blue skies, tall towers, voices speaking that same strange language. She was laughing, running, playing with others who looked like her but with silver eyes and glowing skin. They were kind. They smiled. They called her name. But it wasn't Alira. It was something else, something ancient. The vision faded. She opened her eyes slowly. Her hands were shaking. "I'm not from Earth," she whispered. "I never was." The armor pulsed again. This time, it opened a small panel near her wrist. Inside was a glowing crystal no bigger than her thumb. She touched it gently. Images flashed again. Faster now. Charts, maps, a name, Saturn's fifth moon. Coordinates, a hidden location. She stood up. Her legs felt heavy, but her purpose was clear. This armor hadn't trapped her. It had waited for her to be ready. As she prepared to change the ship's course, she paused. Was this safe? Could she trust what the armor was showing her? Could she trust herself? She looked out the window, into the stars. There were no answers yet, but there was something she had never felt before, a beginning. And whatever was hidden beneath that armor, it wanted her to remember. It needed her to remember. Because soon, she would return to where it all began. The ship moved quietly through the dark sea of stars, heading toward the coordinates the armor had revealed. Alira sat alone in the cockpit, her eyes focused on the screen, but her thoughts far away. She didn't know what waited on the moon. She didn't know why the armor had kept the memory locked inside her for so long. But now the truth had started to break through, and it wouldn't stop, for hours. The armor had remained still, no glow, no voice, no vision, just silence. But deep inside, Alira felt something building, a connection forming, like the armor was preparing for something important. She placed her hand on the center of the suit again. This time, she didn't ask questions. She simply waited. And then it happened. The lights in the room dimmed without warning. Her heart jumped, but before she could stand, a soft hum filled the air. Not mechanical, not electrical. It was musical, like a distant melody that only she could hear. It came from the armor, from deep within. The screen in front of her blinked, then changed. A message appeared, written in both human and alien language now. Clear, simple. "You were not the first, but you are the last." Her fingers trembled as she touched the screen. It changed again, showing a video file. She hesitated, then pressed play. A figure appeared. It was her, or at least someone who looked exactly like her but older, wiser, wearing the same armor, standing on the surface of a strange world with twin suns behind her. The woman spoken, the alien tongue, but Alira understood every word. "You are waking up late, but that's okay. The suit has done its job. It protected your body, your mind, and your memory. Until now." Alira's breath caught in her throat. The woman continued, "You are the last of us. Our kind chose Earth as a home when our world was lost. But we couldn't survive as we were. We had to change, blend in, become part of them." Alira leaned in, trying to take in every word. "You volunteered to carry our final knowledge. You were sent away before the collapse. Your armor holds more than protection, it holds a key to a place, a purpose, and a part of yourself you have not yet met. The video faded slowly. Alira sat frozen. Everything she knew about herself was wrong. She wasn't just a pilot. She wasn't even fully human. She had been sent here, not born, placed among humans with her memories hidden. The armor had waited until the right time to wake her up. Her mind raced. Why now? What was the key? She stood up and walked toward the back of the room. There was a small compartment in the wall, a place she had never opened before. The suit glowed softly as she approached, and the panel slid open with a quiet hiss. Inside was a second crystal, shaped like a teardrop. She touched it, and a new wave of images rushed through her. The base on Saturn's moon. Underground tunnels, lights that responded to her touch, a large chamber filled with machines, and in the center a pillar made of light, a place where the crystal must be placed. Then she saw something else. A door, but this door wasn't made of metal, it was made of energy, and behind it was another version of herself, sleeping, waiting, connected to the armor, connected to the memory. She stepped back, heart beating fast. The armor warmed around her chest, almost like a hand pressing gently, reminding her this wasn't just about finding out who she was. It was about unlocking something far older. She looked back at the stars outside the window. She wasn't lost anymore. She had a path, and soon she would reach it. But deep inside, she also felt something else. The armor was holding one more secret, and it wasn't ready to show it yet. The ship slowed as it approached the surface of the moon. The glow of Saturn hung far behind, casting a golden light across the strange, rocky landscape. Alira stood near the exit bay, watching the screen as the ship gently landed. The armor was silent, but she could feel its energy building again, quiet, steady, waiting. The moment her boots touched the moon's surface, the ground beneath her gave a soft hum, as if the planet itself had recognized her. She looked around. Nothing but cliffs, dust, and distant shadows. No sign of a base, no structure, no doorway. But the armor knew. It pulled her forward with a gentle nudge. She didn't resist. With every step, her heartbeat grew faster. The surface felt strange under her feet, like the rock wasn't truly solid, more like a skin covering something deeper. After a short walk, she arrived at a wall of stone, smooth, tall, and unbroken. The armor glowed softly as she raised her hand and pressed it against the rock. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the wall shimmered. Light ran across it in thin blue lines, like veins waking up after a long sleep. The stone surface split silently down the middle, revealing a hidden passage. A soft breeze escaped from within, carrying the scent of something ancient. The air was still clean, untouched. Alira stepped inside. The hallway was tall, curving gently downward, its walls made of the same glowing lines. She felt no fear, only a strange peace, as if she had finally come home after a long, long journey. The armor moved with ease now, guiding her steps, as if it remembered the path better than her own mind. Further in, she found a round chamber with a tall pillar at its center. Around it floated small orbs of light, blinking slowly like stars. The armor's crystal, the one she had found earlier, began to glow brighter. She walked forward and placed it on the pillar. The lights reacted instantly. The room lit up. Images danced around her, floating memories from a forgotten time. She saw the same world from her earlier visions. Twin suns, towering cities, beings with kind eyes and glowing skin. She saw families, joy, a peaceful life. And then she saw the end, a deep darkness falling over that world. Ships leaving, her people vanishing into space, seeking a future. One of them was her. She watched herself enter a pod, the armor wrapping around her like a guardian. Then silence. The vision faded, and a new sound filled the chamber. A voice, not from outside, from within her. You made it. She turned quickly. No one was there, but the voice felt real, close, familiar. I am what you left behind, it said gently. Your memory, your path. I have waited for you. The armor warmed. She understood now. The armor was not a tool or a cage. It was a part of her, a memory keeper, a silent companion, a protector. She looked to the side of the room. Another passage, had opened. Inside was a large pod, floating, glowing, and inside it was another version of her, asleep. Peaceful. Exactly the same, but also different. Her breath caught. She stepped closer, placing her hand on the glass, and suddenly images hit her mind again. This was her original body, the one made for her real self, the one that held all the full memories. The suit she now wore had only kept her alive, half awake, half asleep. Now, she had a choice: remain as she was, or reconnect with the self she once was meant to be. She looked down at her hands, then up at her reflection in the pod. She didn't know what the right choice was yet, but something inside her whispered again, "You're almost ready." And the door behind her slowly closed, locking the outside world away. Alira sat quietly in front of the floating pod, her hands still resting against the glass. The version of herself inside looked calm, as if sleeping through time, untouched by pain or memory. Round her, the chamber was still, filled only with soft light and the gentle hum of machines that had not aged in years. The suit she wore remained quiet too, but the connection between them felt stronger than ever. It no longer felt like a separate thing, it felt like part of her, like a voice she had just begun to understand. She watched the sleeping figure and whispered, "Are you really me?" No voice answered this time, but something stirred inside her mind, a wave of warmth, a memory not from her own life, but familiar all the same. She saw herself, this sleeping version, standing in a great hall, speaking in that soft, glowing language she spoke with leaders, scientists, friends. The plan was clear. Earth was a safe place, but the transformation would take time. Her body and mind needed to be changed to survive. The armor would guide her, protect her, hide the truth until the time was right. But something had gone wrong. The pod never opened again. She had awakened too soon, or maybe too late. Her memories had faded. She had forgotten everything. And now, the suit had brought her back here to complete what was started long ago. Alira stepped away from the pod, breathing slowly. She turned as new lights flickered on around the room. A hidden doorway opened. Behind her, she followed the path, each step taking her deeper into the heart of the base. The hallway led to a circular room. In the center, there stood a tall, glass-like structure. Inside it, tiny threads of light moved, twisting, dancing, alive. The armor pulsed softly. She walked closer. At the edge of the platform was a small table. On it, another crystal rested. But this one was different. It glowed with a soft gold hue. She reached for it. The moment her fingers touched it, the light threads inside the structure reacted. A wave of energy passed through the room, and then her mind opened again. This time, she didn't just see memories, she felt them. She was running through wide-open fields, laughing under two suns. She was holding a glowing orb in her hands, teaching children how to control the light. She was singing a song that made the trees bloom, a song she had forgotten until now. The world was full of peace, beauty, and knowledge, and she was part of it, deeply. But the images darkened. Her world had started to fade, a slow collapse, caused by something not fully understood. The leaders had made a decision: send their essence across the stars, hidden in bodies that looked human, protected by suits that would keep the truth buried until the right moment. And she was one of them. Alira fell to her knees, overwhelmed. Tears filled her eyes. She hadn't lost herself. She had been waiting to return. The armor wrapped around her gently, as if comforting her. The light in the room dimmed again, and a new shape formed in the center of the chamber. A screen, a recording, a face appeared. Kind, familiar, the same woman from before, but now with sorrow in her voice. "If you are seeing this, then you survived, and you remembered. You have found what we left behind." Alira leaned closer. "There is still more hidden within you. The suit can only hold so much. The rest is in the sleeping form. It is your choice now. You may stay as you are, half awake, half human, or return to who you once were." The screen faded. Silence returned. Alira stood, her breath calm now. She turned and walked back to the pod. The sleeping version of her remained still, but now she could hear the soft rhythm of breathing. She wasn't just looking at a copy. She was looking at the rest of herself, the missing piece. Her choice was near, but the final answer would come soon. The chamber around her was still. The light from the crystal above the pod flickered gently, casting soft waves across the room. Alira stood in silence, her eyes locked on the sleeping form behind the glass. This wasn't just another version of her. It was her past untouched, unbroken, waiting for a long time. She didn't move. Her thoughts floated quietly through her mind, like leaves in a gentle stream. The armor she wore had guided her here, step by step, revealing the truth in pieces. It had waited patiently, always knowing the moment would come, and now it had. The suit's surface glowed faintly, but not in warning. It was warm, steady, calm, like it was ready just as she needed to be. She raised her hand and placed it on the pot again. This time, the glass began to shift. It turned transparent, then slowly pulled away, revealing the figure inside. The body breathed gently, just as before, but now the air around it shimmered slightly. Like a soft fog of energy, a new panel opened beside the pod, revealing a small, round device. Without being told, Alira understood what it was, a memory transfer tool. If she chose to use it, the sleeping body would awaken and the memories locked within it would return to her. But not all memories were soft. Some would bring joy, others might bring pain. She stepped back, her hands at her sides. Was she truly ready? Would she still be the same after everything returned? The armor responded by gently releasing its hold. It began to unfold itself from her shoulders and arms, piece by piece, without struggle. It wasn't trying to hold her anymore. It was giving her a choice. For the first time since she had woken up in space, she stood there without the full weight of the armor pressing against her. It felt strange, light, and quiet. She stepped toward the device and lifted it in both hands. The surface lit up with soft symbols. Familiar now, her fingers moved over them easily, as if they remembered the language even when her mind did not. She placed the device on her chest. A warm pulse moved through her body. The room around her faded, replaced by memory. She saw herself again, but not in battle, not in training. She was dancing, laughing, walking through the glowing fields of her true home, holding hands with someone, singing softly in the light of twin suns. She saw faces, family, friends, mentors, people she once loved. Then came the day she left. She was brave, hopeful. She told them she would return, that the plan would work, that she would remember. But now, only silence answered those memories. The light faded. She opened her eyes. The body in the pod had disappeared. She looked down at herself. The armor had changed. It had melted into something softer, something brighter. It wasn't armor anymore. It was part of her, not for hiding, not for protecting, but for remembering. Alira walked out of the chamber. The hallway was brighter now. The base itself seemed alive, awakened by her presence. Lights turned on as she passed, doors opened gently, and screens displayed symbols that made perfect sense to her now. As she reached the exit, the stars outside seemed closer, more welcoming. The ship waited silently where she had left it. She stepped inside and touched the controls. The system responded immediately, recognizing her not just as a pilot but as the true owner. She didn't need to ask where to go next. The coordinates were already set. The last memory that returned to her was a voice, not from the suit, not from the past, from her own heart. You wanted to break free, and now you finally have. She looked out at the stars, no longer searching for answers, because she had become the answer. And somewhere out there, something else was waiting to remember, too.